So thank you for letting us know. We'll announce it. My name is Cynthia Felix. Yeah. I'm Chair of the Public Safety Committee. We have some of our most likely of the board. So around here, this is Natalia, and the one works in the office. Okay, you're very welcome. If you have any questions, feel free to ask any of us. We'll be happy to help you. Okay. Just worry.
So we're live on YouTube, but I started to love it. So just before we get started, the rest here, Andre Rickman is here from the Sunset Fund. Here. One more than that. One more than that. Yep. Okay. Okay. Great. Hello, everyone. Hi. Oh, yeah, perfect. Yes, we're gonna give it on our side. Yep, we're gonna give it on. I'm going to be calling the committee members. When you hear the say present, who are attending virtually, please unmute yourself, state your present, and then something. Those who are attending online, or the Jeffers. Present. Jerry Chan. Joan Biden. Yeah. Ken Fung. Hector Gonzalez. Hector, you can unmute yourself.
Yes,
State your presence. Hector?
yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. You can mute yourself now. I marked you present, but you do not count towards quorum. Roberto Martinez. Kama Ramos. Here, Kamalich, thank you. Samuel Sierra. Thank you, Sam. Kalina Thorma. Thank you. Jiming Wu. Talisha Gonzalez. Thank you. And Pat Ruiz.
Thank you. Before we begin, I would just want to just take a quick silence. Unfortunately, we did have one of our community members passed away, heard on the street at 41st. Community, Miss Judith Byron, 75 years old. She was crossing and fortunately was in a fatal car accident. We get an update today from the captain, but if we could just take one moment of silence and respect it. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the first public safety meeting of the year. I would like to start by welcoming our new members to the Public Safety Committee and thanking the committee for being here with us this evening. And we have quorum, so thank you very much. It's always very difficult to conduct business without quorum. Today we have two items on our first item is going to be an update from our quality of life unit from the 72nd. We have Captain Jansen today and one of his sergeants here today to give some updates. And then we're going to be discussing an application that we received for an adult retail cannabis dispensary to be located on 4602 Fifth Avenue. So we are going to start. I am going to introduce Captain Jansen from the 72nd Precinct, who's going to tell us a little bit about what the quality of life unit is, what it does, and what have they been doing in the short month that they've been officially here, so we can know what they're doing. Thank you, Captain.
Hello, everyone. So Q team is Q stands for quality of life, and it's basically a shift. And the reason, the philosophy behind this is, if you look back at New York City was a different place in the 90s, even in the 2000s, right? I mean, there's no comparison. It's night and day. And so our focus at that time was violent all the way around, right? It was totally different. Times Square, right? We've come a long way. And I know there's a lot of, you were, the sentiment is shared there. So this is like real life experience, you know. This isn't something that we felt it, right? We lived it. And so fast forward from there, if you look at across the board, the crime statistics from that versus today, it's night and day. It's almost like two different cities. And so now what we want to do with the city's view was let's really hone in on the quality of life issues and really the 3-1 complaints that the community face. And that's your illegal parking, your drinking, your camp vans, your disorderly group, quality of life, smoking the whole way, that sort of stuff. What we did was we've taken the neighborhood coordination officers and we just rolled them into the Q team. So the good thing about that is you know your neighborhood coordination officers and you still have that relationship with them. That does not go away. We're actually going to build on that relationship. And so the focus of the Q team is 311 call comes in as opposed to it going to a sector card. It's going right to them. And there's a follow-up that's done internally within the department. So there's accountability. And not that there wasn't accountability before, but it's actually full work. And it's reinforced. So the Q team go out there and we look at the stats and we're really just the focus is to increase the number of 311 calls that come in. And we're seeing that already because the calls that are coming in, it's the same officers that are responding. We're not looking to issue this comments if it's illegal parking, for example, correct the condition. And we're seeing that volume 311 calls reducing and And that's really essentially in a nutshell what the program. I'll just get right into, and we have Sergeant Rui Wan, he's over here, excellent supervisor, he leads an excellent team. And we have Officer Elisa Lang, she's current partner, second to none, they're really pillars, stable partner. So that's what the Q team is. How does Sunset Park, Woodsmith Terrace, the 72nd precinct look? Year to date, I reported this early when I first got here, and every week, one thing I want to report to you, I want to say on that, we're still the lowest, we have the highest reduction overall index crimes in the city. There are 78 precincts in New York City. We're doing better than everyone in terms of overall crime reduction, and that's huge. So let's give ourselves a round of applause. And to put into perspective, right, the 78 precincts, we're doing better in overall crime reduction. We have 298 fewer crimes, index crimes reported this year compared to last. I mean, that's amazing. And the beauty is, we're going to beat this even more next year when it comes around. It's a challenge. I know we could do it. That's what the community is, and that's what the police department. We hold hands and we do it. Yeah, the numbers are good. It's a 30% crime. I'm just getting to what are we doing? Like, I mean, one of the things I saw when I first got, I took community of the precinct, I noticed that, and this is feedback I got from is the two-wheel devices, right? The Brantford, way too many people on the road. We just want people to be in compliance. And so, when it comes to that, I see a marked difference. There's still work to be done, but I think we made strides. We've come a long way. And what I mean by saying that, it's actually, you can look at the numbers. Like, there's 78 precincts in New York City, but in Brooklyn South, there are 13 precincts. So if you look at the amount of mopeds that we seized 525. We have 525 seizures this year. And if you take the second and third top precincts in Brooklyn South, put them together, we still beat them. Like that's how good we're doing. Okay, so we're not done. We still have a few months left for the year's over. And our whole idea is taking the devices, letting the owner know, hey, this is yours, but you got to get it registered. And we give an opportunity to do it. So we have it, so give an opportunity to get the license, get the registration, get the insurance, give it back to them. We want everyone to be able to travel with safety and that's what we're doing with that. Other than that, Cynthia, I know you touched on it, that unfortunately we did have a fatal tragedy. The driver who fled the scene, he still remains at large. But our highway criminal investigations division is second to none. That person's going to be held accountable. That's the way it is. Can't do that. And that's, I mean, I don't know what world this person, I don't know what his state of mind was. I don't know how you can say that you didn't know, maybe that you hit someone, but that person will be brought to justice. And hopefully I can report that at our next meeting.
I had a question, Captain, about that. Was there any issues with the lights? I know it's near the park and sometimes there's trees. It gets a little dark. I know sometimes there's an issue with the lights there. I know last year, one of the things we lots was lighting because some of the trees, while they provide great air and support us, they do a canopy over the light.
Yeah, in this case, he just disobeyed the steady red light. So it was
Okay.
Straight up disobey. Yeah, we have it on video.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what we have in this case. It wasn't in person, just at home. And I'll just finally touch on traffic. Speaking of traffic, year to date, despite this collision, this traffic fatality, we are down 119. We have 119 fewer collisions this year versus last year. So that's huge. That's actually a 10% reduction in vehicle collisions recorded in our precinct. And if you look at the total number of double park summonses issued, bus stops, bus lanes, crosswalks, bicycles, we're at, these numbers are 155% double parkers. Total parkers were up 60%. So the idea is just to hold people accountable, improve the quality of life. We're trying to fire up all cylinders. It's the congregations of the corners, it's the, illegal parking, it's the, parking at the bus stop, the bus lanes, and so on. So the idea is we want, and I'm sure if there's someone here that you would disagree with that, call 311. That's how we get there. Call 311, we get there, there's always a follow-up. And the idea, like I said, it's not to give the numbers, but to correct the issues. And we don't always give some. We'll go there, and there's a lot of times we'll say, hey, could you move your vehicle? And sometimes I won't, you know? Sometimes because someone comes and say, you know what, I'll take this on, but the idea is just want to correct it. I think we're doing a great job with that. Thank you.
Are there any questions so far for the captain or any, spots? We have, two concerns that were brought up to the community. Tasha, you want to take this? One was a double park car, ironically enough.
Well, I can do a little bit further.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So that is, the illegal parking on 44. There's that large apartment around fires. So then, Linden is boarded up for staff. Which also closes off the sidewalk at 44th Street. So DOT put a temporary pedestrian wall there with plastic barriers for people, as we know, parking is hard to find in New York City. So residents or people who are parking and issue. So they move away the plastic that easily parked by the scaffolding or the front of the building. But now what happens is the residents is those walking with their children, they're forced to go into the middle of the street, onto one. When it's on the opposite side of the street. And residents are going pandemic. I personally called 311 on the 3rd, and I say within a couple of hours, closed at 4 p.m. I reported it at 12:17 p.m. And this is the police response, the department responded to the complaint. Action. We have been in touch with DOT to erect some other kind of temporary restaurant or barrier for that last safely. Today, this issue, people are moving barriers that are supposed to be protective, and they, you know,
Then photo.
yeah, I can email you.
Once you move the barrier, is it no standing on the parking side?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
We can fix that right now. And as soon as this meeting's done, we'll have all the vehicles covered. And that's gonna send a message that you can't just move the barriers. And even if the barrier wasn't there, there's a no standing on parking side. And, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll take care of it.
And if I could question you of the school.
So.
Thank you for that.
Another issue was regarding, handling this is important. Now, the project is first by the overpass on the 4th between Prospect. Services, sanitation, and they will confirm this. To be an operation that can consume that location. Because and there's also stuff built up right there. So we have to see enforcement and monitoring that location to be sure to prevent any future being built up in.
Yeah, absolutely. That allocation, we've cleaned it up many times and it's just, it pops right back up. We just gotta do another cleanup. So we did actually one today on 3rd Avenue and 20th Street, but that was an emergency. Sent you guys before that. It was a lot better. But I visited this morning, as I was driving back from the precinct. I've never seen, that allocation will very welcome. Another thing, we actually put in a request to, put in the light tower there, just to light it up, to give it that. That's a good idea. You know, we're still waiting for the light tower to get here, but once that gets there, it's just to light it up, right? No one wants to do their crap with the light on, right? I mean,
Yeah, that big, like, there's actually one of these 7 and it's just there. Yeah. Yeah, That's a good one, yeah, that's a good idea. So the lights out very quick, doesn't know, it's a very big, bright light. It says NYPD and it's super bright. and lights up that area. So that is a good idea to have. Yeah, looks like. So, yeah. Sam?
Hi, good evening. I'm Sam Sierra, 559 56th Street.
A little bit closer to the mic.
Hi, I'm Sam Sierra, 559 56th Street. I just wanted to point something out relating to the subject matter of illegal parking. When we speak of illegal parking, there are two levels of illegal parking. You have the mom and or the pop that is sitting in the double parked or the illegal vehicle, and then you have the commercial, the trucks. The trucks, the level of danger rises when these big vehicles are blocking the crosswalk. They're blocking the bicycle path, and specifically before that, street. The corner of 54th is a hot corner that has the turning lane, and there are vehicles parked in that lane. I just passed one, and I just wanted to point that out, that, it's two levels, and the more dangerous of the two are the commercial. And I don't feel, I know it's a lot of work, and you can't be everywhere all at once. But just today, driving along Fourth Avenue, I saw it all the time. I make a right turn, I have to navigate around the truck and then look to see the bicycle coming. And this is bad. Currently in Sunset Park, it's not safe to be either a pedestrian, a cyclist, or a driver. So I just needed to point that out. Those trucks are really dangerous for us all. Thank you.
Sammy, thank you for bringing that up, because I know that transportation, committee also has brought that up too, so those corners, so.
Thank
The
Thank you for
daylight,
reminding me.
yes.
I wanted to say that trucks, they park in the painted area,
Whether that's.
which, as you know, that painted area is supposed to be concrete. Right? If they were concrete, they would not be able to park there. I just wanted to point that out. It's a DLT issue, but I wanted to share it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sammy. Is there anybody else that has any, concerns? Sorry.
Hi, I'm Tanya Gonzalez. I'm a resident of Sunset Park, a scientist. So there are a lot of quality of life issues we have observed. While 311 calls as a resident and speaking among residents, that's not really something that we can rely on of how our safety feels in real life. Every day, my son has to work with people who are so they have defecated themselves. In the summer, we called 911 because there were literally bugs on a man that we could not tell if he was breathing. This is a huge issue. As we continue to kind of see also effects of marijuana, we do not feel the same safety that other neighbors in close vicinity. When there are traffic stops, checking to make sure folks are not inebriated in our neighborhood, we go up by and people are getting high and drunk in their cars. My son has almost been hit by more, if you will, than we can count. We know obesity rates are high in Latino Black neighborhoods. Our children do not play in the streets. This conversation, oh, kids are just on their devices. If my son wanted to ride his bike, he could not. Our neighbors have turned their front yards. Here's an issue. If you can do it, I guess I see the reason why. But that also means that our seniors and our children can no longer play freely on the sidewalks. These are also folks that have not applied for and received permits. We cannot see police officers. The other issue. We walk the park. Sometimes we'll see a squad car and two. We've called propane tanks, open fires. I personally have spoken to the supervisor in the park. And the solution, they do not have resources, they rely on the local PD for a lot of those what we're calling quality of life issues. We've seen older seniors almost get hit by motorized. The sign that was taken down. So we almost feel like an unauthorized patrol, right? Like my son says one thing on something happens to you because you said the wrong thing to the wrong person. And I don't want that to be my legacy. That I needed to say something and somebody took me out for it. So I'm a member of the community board because I care deeply about these things. I came after living in different parts of the world to raise my son here because Sunset Park is at its very core of a very special place. But I would like to see more done. I would like to see more presence. I'd like to see more partnership between the stewards of our public safety and children and youth. I'm also seeing more tagging. Again, right, there's a difference between graffiti that's art and graffiti that is tagging in neighborhoods so that you have ownership over it. My son had to walk through a crowd, speaking in the 90s and 2000s. I grew up here during that time. That is coming back, and that has the hairs on my arms. I think that he has to walk through a throng of people, mixed gender people, who are smoking weed and drinking, and that he feels threatened. And I'm not racist or classist place. The language, the violence, he saw and there was punch, and then they went out on the floor. We did call 911. So, right, like I decision, I get it. The numbers are going down, but as a person who lives here, what is the total, right? What is the percentage? We don't know the top there. Our people do not call people. And for those of us who do, we might find your cases are close and there has been no resolution. So thank you so much. I appreciate this work, and again, I'm hoping that there's more engagement, but I'm also hoping that there's more. Thank you.
I also want to add that very recently, Councilmember Susan Swank just did a meeting with the Parks Department because, to your point, there is not enough parks police. They had that issue in one of the parks as well, where two-wheeled bikes were in the playground and the children couldn't enjoy the park of the playground. It wasn't Sunset Park, it was another park in Dyker Heights with the same issue. So that is something. So perhaps at the next meeting, I'll ask her to give us an update to see how we could support that initiative. Because you're right, and particularly in the park, we do see it with the two-wheel bike. And the Parks Police is a different Parks Department, but they should be working in tandem to address these issues.
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to thank you for your response, and I totally agree with you. Being a resident of New York City, having my son is 13 now, so I know what you mean. It's something that's stats are one thing, but something that you can feel, right? It's there's the two are just online, right? It's something that you see. And but speaking of just the proactiveness, which I'm proud to say just for our officers, criminal court summonses and old summonses, which are quality life offenses, these are offenses that also have to be observed. So it's not like a 3-1 where it's a parking ticket. These are proactive measures. This year we criminal court summons and old summonses combined together, 3,560. That's proactive. Like I like that. That's good. That's measurement. We're saying here, cops out there. Are they just sitting in the car or are they getting out? And that this is what they do. This does not include the number of times that they've arrested an individual, and it does not include the number of times that they gave them a warning. This is a straight up proactiveness. So you're right. I could say it's 10,000 this number, but the bottom line is it should be 0. We shouldn't be having to see that. We just want to envision something better. That's what I meant by next year. We're going to do more. This is good, but this is good because if you're a statistician, you know that this is the number that we're going to try to match. You got to have some sort of baseline to go up against. And we did a lot this year. We definitely did. And I know your back hurts, right? For the amount of work you've been doing, we're going to do it. We're going to do it together. Same thing. We're putting it.
And I just want to mention about the tagging. So the auxiliary officers led by Officer Wilson have been very proactive in painting over, right? If it's store property or property owner, they have to agree that NYPD paint it over. They use a basic color, but Officer Wilson has been very proactive with the auxiliary officers and painting over that graffiti. the tagging, like you said, they've done it on 50th and on 50th Street between, across the street from the 11th, they tagged there a lot, and eventually now the owner put a beautiful mural there. Because we were painting it almost every other week, with the karate store. It's not karate, it's, judo. The taekwondo. They painted a beautiful mural, so if you just tag, I'm gonna give you some numbers. Call Officer Wilson, if they're available, they do go out, the community can help, right, paint. They will give you gloves, they paint, but keep in mind, the bid also as well, if they got any bid, the store owner has to agree to let them paint it. But if they don't see it in action, then at least they can paint it over, even though they do come back, but they will paint it as many times as.
Speaking of graffiti, like, I know how hard it is to catch a tag. I promise you, not everybody say, oh yeah, the cops are here and stuff, they're gonna run, and they're gonna run. That's what graffiti writers do. I mean, when you catch a graffiti writer, not the artist, the ones that actually do the competition, you'll see they have, quite a few arrests, because they think they just, they call it bombing, they're bombing the whole night with spray paint can. Just the last 3.5 weeks, I can think of 5 arrests that we made. Like that, you know, they're hard to catch one, but our cops are going after them. We're successful 5 times.
Sam, you're good? So if you have anyone, just let us know. Are there any more questions or comments? No? Joe?
How many in the union? How many officers are in this?
Oh, so we have a total of 17, but it's a little skewed because that's pretty bad. Is yeah, 17 officers. Yeah. Q teams, yes. So before the NCO team was 1 sergeant and 8 officers. Now it's 2 sergeants and what's the breakdown? About 17 police officers. Like when I say skew, I mean is 3 are traffic safety officers and 2 are administrative. So it'll break down to maybe 12 that are physically out there. But those 12 are in comparison to other precincts. I don't know if it's a recorded form. We're doing good. Our 12 is probably like 24.
I just want to, before you go, I just want to once again bring up, I know there's a shortage of crossing guards in the community. If there's anything we could do to help support that. A lot of our schools are struggling, particularly 3rd Avenue corridor, 5th Avenue corridor with crossing guards. We've been mentioned time and time again at the community board, and we know there's a citywide shortage, and we appreciate the efforts that the youth coordination officers go by trying to be there at dismissal and arrival. Like you said, there's more schools than there are officers that could go patrol these times. But if there's anything that we could do to advocate for more crossing guards, we have as a community board put it on our budget priority year after year after year. And after year after year after year, Joe knows that. Joe worked very hard to increase the number of schools in our community with our committee. Now that we have schools, so the children are safe. So we again are prioritizing getting more crossing guards, particularly in schools and particularly around those wide corridors, 3rd Avenue, 5th Avenue, 4th Avenue, where it's a more danger for our students to cross the street. Thank you.
I met with the principal today, 3rd and 5th, Principal Gerasilis. So basically, if you know 3rd Avenue, 59th and 60th Street, and we came up with a good plan. We went with our traffic safety officer, and we said, yeah, let's do our own analysis. What we realized is, because of the new school that opened up there on that corridor, there's really 4 schools, and if you're crossing the street on 60th, we counted it's actually 10 lanes. 10 lanes, we count north, south, west, east, 10, so it's a lot. We don't want our kids walking there, so we realized it's better to go on 59th Street, way safer because it's a one-way coming down, and there's like those concrete medians there. It's a lot better, a lot safer, more visibility, less traffic. So please just spread the word. I think we're gonna do maybe put a tweet out there next, and just let the community know. That was something that analysis was by this one.
And if you could share with us, we'll make sure that the transportation committee also feels that safe, similar to what they were, city park, get a safe route across the valley. You're right, on some corners, it could turn into 10 or 12 lanes depending on all the two-way traffic. So thank you for that. Are there any more questions for Sergeant Guan or Captain Yes? Yes, sir, come on. Just give us your name. Let's see if we can get this one to work. Just your name?
My name is Ron Davidson, live at 38th Street. I ride the Third Avenue bus, and at 37th Street. More times I saw commercial buses from Maryland parked there, which doesn't bother me, except I can't see the bus, and the bus can't see me. And I'm a walker, so I hesitate to go into the big more than I would if I didn't. When I spoke to the bus driver the last time, I said I would go to the police, and I did. But they told me there was no criminal violation at this time, and effectively I walked away thinking I had wasted my time, except I did what I could, and even if it achieved nothing, I didn't. They told me to try to call 311, and in my experience, calling 311 is worse than a waste of time in Eastern Parkway and Utica. Even if I follow up, nothing happens. Get emails, nothing happens. I called 5 times, the same thing, so I could cross the street with my walker in here. So I want the captain to be correct. I want to believe him. I want to be wrong, but that's not my experience.
Yeah, what we can do is, honestly, I would agree with you. I don't want to call 311. I want something, but I want to call the cop directly. We'll give you,
Give that out.
yeah, you have the whole list.
That's not what he's saying. He said he wants the situation rectified so that he could say that it's not just calling. So there has been, and I know that there are some, and we have to find out, because I'm refresh my memory. I know that we voted on some commercial buses that came. Remember the ones that wanted to go to Boston, I believe? I have to follow up with Jeremy. There are some bus stops that allow buses to commute from Brooklyn to Washington or to Boston. I do not believe that corner of 37th and 3rd came up, because I remember it was like on 60th Street and 8th Avenue. But I'll have Jeremy follow up with you, but if you give us the exact location, so it's the B37 bus stop, 37th Street going downtown or going towards 86th, the downtown side. And is there a particular time that they're parked there? Okay, so we'll make sure we look at it and we'll bring it to the captain's attention, so you have it, and I'm gonna follow up with Jeremy as well, so that we can follow up with DOT. There are some locations that allow commercial buses to pick up passengers to go to Atlantic City, to Boston, and Washington, I believe. Right?
It will be a sign.
But they should have a sign that says, so if there's no sign, that means it's illegal and they're just parking there. So we'll try to take care of it. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. I also do want to share, because we do know the frustration of sometimes calling. We have the Q team roster. So in the Q team roster, it does have the cell phone number of the sectors. So the precinct is divided into sectors. It's sector A, sector B, C, and D. So sector A is mostly Windsor Terrace, Heights, that area. You have sector B, which is mostly 3rd Avenue, 2nd Avenue, that stretch. Sector C, which is the heart really of it, is from 44th to about 53rd, 55th, around there. And then you have sector D, which is the last end of the precinct. So we're going to share this with you, so that if you have an issue or a concern, you're welcome to call one of the sector officers. And if you always have your 311 complaint, you could always give it to the community board. Jeremy and Natasha are great at following up with a particular agency, because it could be an interagency response that has to happen, not just the precinct, but DOT. But you're absolutely right. They should not be parking there and taking up the city bus stop, especially because it prohibits you from getting on the bus. And you're right, I wouldn't look in traffic to see. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. Anyone else? No? Okay.
Totally unrelated. Okay, so this is in regards to, which I'm sure is on this topic for city dispensary.
Thank you very much. Anything else on, for the council? So I want to thank them both for coming and being with us here today and our officer. Thank you. Okay, so the next topic on our agenda is we are hearing a dispensary application for City Dispensary Inc., which is slated to be located at 4602 Fifth Avenue. I do believe we have representatives who are going to come and welcome them to come to the podium.
Do you mind? I bring my son.
You could bring whoever, friends, come on up.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so I asked that you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about, your dispensary, your plans, and why Sunset Park.
Oh, my name is Sue. Yeah, interesting. So, my name is Sue. See you, Benjamin.
You have to speak right into the mic, so that everybody can hear you.
Do you like him?
Yeah. Maybe I'll help you. Okay. Alright, so this is my mom. She's Sue. My name's Cheng. So we have a purchase agreement to purchase on the way to reopen as a city dispensary. To sell legal.
Speak into the mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 So we're just here to, introduce ourselves, when we plan to open, legal dispensary at 46 with that.
Okay, tell us a little bit about yourselves. What is your connection to Sunset Park?
We don't have a lot of connection to that, but we do have family friends who live on APAC. Where there's, majority, a lot of Chinese people.
So what is your background?
Right now, we. Oh, your mom, okay. Yeah, my mom's. Yeah, she can speak. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very friendly, Ms. Sue. We're very friendly. Okay,
What's the question?
what is it that you currently do? What is your background? Retail, like what is it that you do right now? What is your
Oh,
career? What is it that you're doing?
Well, the restaurant.
So you work as a restaurant manager, so I'm gonna ask, so you see how I'm speaking very clearly into the mic?
Yeah.
Because we're on Zoom and they need to hear you. So, no, don't worry about it. So you work at a restaurant here in Brooklyn,
No, medical Oregon.
in where?
Medical Oregon.
Okay, in Oregon. So are you here, are you going to live in Brooklyn? You live in Oregon?
Yeah, sometimes I help label the medical crazy. Yeah, and close. And so someone yeah, do this.
Okay, so you purchased the entire building. So you purchased the building, you're not renting out the location?
yeah, no, buy it. Buy the building.
Okay, so currently the building right now has tenants upstairs and downstairs is a hat store. Just want to give context to that's here. The downstairs sells caps, baseball. It's a pretty small footprint. It's not a very big store. It's narrow and kind of long. And upstairs is how many residents? Two floors, correct? Seven units. 7 units total. And then downstairs is actually they sell trinkets of that area. So you put in to purchase the building, and what you plan to do with it downstairs is open a dispensary. Correct. And right now, do you have any experience with running a dispensary in the past?
Yeah, before I know about going training.
So you were in the cultivation. You grew it in a farm in New York,
Oregon.
in Oregon. Okay. So why the park, what is your interest in coming to our little neighborhood, our little neck of the woods? So far from Oregon.
Oh, because my son live here, and I close my son.
Okay,
And, I see here, illegal, so I must go, so I like to,
okay.
Okay. I think you have a resident in Elmhurst, Queens.
Yeah.
Do you currently live there now?
Yeah.
So you live there and your kids live there?
yeah.
Yeah.
My kids live there.
Okay. So, does the kids card help you, maintain the stores, or are they going to be employed?
My son can help me, but I hire a student manager.
Oh, okay. So, okay, so I'm looking at the lease, right? The lease have your son on it and a guy named James on it. So they would be the building owners. I need to purchase the building. Have you purchased the building yet?
We have, well, actually, we plan to, you guys plan to buy it with the city dispensary. But if we have like, like mortgage issues and stuff, what I can come in, together.
So are you planning to pay cash for it?
No.
We're gonna get a loan.
No, yeah, we're gonna get a loan, because the current owner will give us like will write us a note. And then we also like, we have to put up some, well,
So it's taking a federal loan.
yes.
Okay. So my next question is, let's talk about the operating hours. You plan to open until 2 a.m. in the morning, according to your application.
It's a pay hour.
So you are very close to like park and,
The hour I plan is a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
can you
10.
speak into the microphone?
Oh, so sorry.
Okay, I think I'm still on.
Okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. Saturday is 11 a.m. to 2 a.m.
So I'm sorry, so you are opening until 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, but it's a beginner, I read that, I comfort, they come back, they dispensary. Because now then it's longer, because deliver if you come back, it's so late. Yeah.
But, okay, so my next question. See that you will deliver, marijuana in a neighborhood using, e-bike, public transportation, and walking. So I assume that most of your customers will be local.
Yes.
But how are you providing safety to the delivery person?
We have, hire about that, they experience manager. They know how it's to have.
So,
I mean, what I want to say is, this is like, the cannabis legalization has been in the city for like almost 2 years now. There are like experienced management companies that can handle that delivery for us. So it's kind of
so
like,
outsourcing.
yes,
Third party.
yes, kind of like DoorDash. Kind of like DoorDash for me. So like third party, they'll come in, they do the deliveries. And also, the reason why the hours, we have big like, or plan to open longer, is because that's like the worst case scenario. If the business is slow, we'll also, close it down. And also, the state requires that if you have a delivery person out there making the deliveries, your store has to be open. So that way, you cannot close until all your delivery personnel is done and come back.
Okay, so I'm gonna say right now, I'm not going to be comfortable approving anything that's gonna be, we have had several applications come before us, and not one dispensary is open past 11 p.m. 2 a.m. on a Friday or Saturday night, you're gonna keep my poor Sergeant Warren very busy, much busier than he is today. So I am going to respectfully request that you change your proposed days, and hours of operation to close them at a more reasonable time that meets the needs of the community. Most of the restaurants and most of Fifth Avenue starts shutting down at about 11 o'clock. This is not Manhattan, Times Square, where we have people out and about till 2 in the morning. We have that corridor on Second and First Avenue that we're trying to take care of. For me, Fifth Avenue and that application to 2 a.m. is going to be problematic for the community because there are a lot of complaints about noise already that come in after 11 o'clock. So,
ILCCT 有到，ILCT before, but I went this Hamburg day, but remember something, maybe he understand what I think.
Yeah, we're more than happy to lower down, to close early. Because the other reason why we put 2 a.m. is, like, some other communities, they actually want a business to open late, so that way the sidewalk is bright. You know, they have lights, you know, instead they have dark sidewalk. We're more than happy to close it early, you know, for the community, like at 11 o'clock.
So I know your mom lives in Queens.
Yeah.
So what do you live?
Oh, I do numbers.
So you both live in Elmhurst?
Yeah.
Right, so, I would advise you, get to know the neighborhood before you decide to figure out open late or not late. But yes, there is a huge Asian population over there, but that's over there. Like, so I would advise that you guys should get to know the neighborhood before you're looking at hours and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll definitely happy to amend the hours, you know, to not open past 11 p.m.
Why not Queens? The application, since both of you live in Queens.
Because we couldn't find a location. And then, you know, since we're Chinese, we'll come to like 8 very often. And
Well, the population in Queens Asian, is also be huge.
I know, but it's, you can't find a place near function, you know?
okay, I have some questions also regarding, your security company. That you said you're gonna try and hire in-house security staff. How would you hire in-house security staff? How would that work?
Okay, I see your type. Okay, what did you say? Can you speak again?
The security plan that you have here that you're going to hire on security procedures, you said that you're going to hire in-house security staff. So can you have that? Because we normally have people that use security companies. So how are you gonna train your own staff to do that?
It is, experienced management team will train and hire in-house. Citizens.
Okay, so it seems like a lot of your application, is dependent on finding a experienced management team, experienced people who already are doing this. Have you reached out? Is there anyone that you have in mind? As your son stated, OCM has been granting licenses at least for 3 years. There's a plethora of people that I'm sure that would want to do this. Have you reached out to anybody?
Yeah, I mean,
So who?
we spoke to like, couple owners. Like, I spoke to the, like, the owner of Taiwan, you know, so they are, and then there's also like a big, like, cannabis retail association in the state where all the retail stores can find help from the cannabis retail association in the state.
Okay, so when I read your application, one of the things that struck me was the lack of detail in the application. So very detailed oriented. And when we're having these applications, simply because, as you are well aware, OCM has really very vague guidelines. So we like to get very specific information from the owners that are going to have this dispensary in our community board. And a lot of the things that you said was that you will find out. So before we approve this, I will be asking you to tell us what it is that you're doing with very much specificity, which would include the name of the company, the people that you plan to have, and to do this because we need to be reassured that who you have there is those experienced people that you claim to have, as well that the in-house security staff will be trained to provide that, safety that we need. While we are very much in agreement that legal dispensaries need to be in place in Sunset Park, we also need to be reassured that the OCM rules and practices will be done to our satisfaction for us to move forward. We did ask for an extension on yours, very frank with you, we did ask for an extension with OCM on deciding your application because we wanted to hear from you first. But we are going to ask you for more details as to what it is that you plan to do. For example, it's a very small footprint, that store. It's tiny, that store. I've been in that hatch store many a times. It's very small. What is going to be your floor plan for it? Because it's a small, narrow space. There's not a lot of people that fit there. I know that you're exempt from giving us your certificate of occupancy because for 1938, but it's a 400 square foot store. It's about as big as this space here. So we would need to get your floor plan as well to do that.
Grass, any grass, security, cameras, safe, and.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully, all the security stuff, I mean, this is, cannabis is highly regulated in the state. So we will have to comply that with the state.
We're very much we're very much well aware of it. Besides state, we like to review it as well so that we can have it here file. So that we are reassured that what you're telling us actually gets. So just so you know, all the applications that we have had these conditions where they had to insure us and let us know about the security plan, about the security plan, any management and anyone else is going to be a part of it, because right now it just has your mother as the only person doing this, but now you're telling us that you're going to bring in a management. So we do require who are the additional management people that are going to be there. But we're well aware that OCM does look at it. Like I stated before, we put this in place so that we're assured as a community board that we're making an informed decision as to whether or not we're going to move an application forward. And how we make that informed decision is by getting information from you. I was hoping that you would be able to give us a little bit more information today, but it seems like a lot of the details, you're still working them out, which I respect because I do know this takes some time. But I would like to get more details as to what it is that you're going to be doing with this store. Like I said, it's a store. It's 400 square feet and it only has a 10-foot frontage. So that was my concern.
And you plan to open based on, purchasing the building.
Yes, the purchase is subject to the community will approve the using.
So, hold on, community will do not approve the usage of cannabis at the end is the state, but. So just let you know, but
Yeah,
But in order for us to move on, right, you have to answer some of the, the one that Cynthia raised and the one that I raised, right? I mean, I understand, that, the mother would be the owner. Right now, the mothers have very difficulty communicating if she opens the store and managing, right, the staff. How does she manage it? I'm not gonna bring that up now. How should be able to manage it, like, when stores actually open?
I mean, if you're not aware, like, the dispensary stores in the city, like in New York City, most of all the employees are union.
Yes, we're
Okay.
going to well.
So like pretty much like the owner doesn't have much say on how to train staff. The union does.
Well, as a union rep, the union rep here, we're very much into the union and we understand that. But you have the power to hire the people when it is that they get trained on. And while they recommend that you use the United Food and Commercial Workers local, you're not required to have unionized employees. It is highly recommended because we are a union city and we like to see our union brothers and sisters have a union where they have some kind of job protection. So that's part of the labor practices, but it's really going beyond the labor practice It just seems that you wanna do this, that you got the license, you found the building, able to do it, but there's no real concrete plan, like, there's not even a floor plan here that tells me how are you gonna convert the space, right? So it requires you to have a safe, it requires you to have a double egress door, that people get buzzed in. I didn't see any of that in your plan. I'm not saying we're gonna reject your plan, what I'm saying is we need more information on what it is you plan to do with that space before we, at least I, and I have somebody here who's going to vote, so I will speak for myself and they can speak on their own. Before I feel comfortable in asking the state to move forward with this application, because I need to visualize it, and right now it's very difficult for me to visualize it because a lot of the things you're saying are very generalized terms. So, for example, floor plan, like I said, most dispensaries have a double buzz door. So I don't know if that space allows a double buzz because it's small. If you do a double buzz door, it's gonna take up a good 4 feet of the space that you have. So that brings you down to 300 and change. You also have to have a safe because as you know, you have to secure the cannabis in a secure location. There's a safe that OCM requires you to have. That's going to take some space up as well. You have to have it on display. So you're going to have some kind of displays up. So in trying to visualize it, I'm finding it difficult because you did not include a floor plan. You included fees and you included the paperwork for that. But I don't know visually how you're going to turn that small, narrow space into a dispensary. At most, you're gonna have 2 people sitting in there. It's a small space. So those are the concerns that I have, that I'm going to request that you provide us before I put it at a motion to move forward. Sam?
Hi, thank you for being here this evening. Just a question. Do you know if there are any schools around the store? Any schools close to the area?
Yes, there's no schools within the city.
So just to share, there is a school on the next avenue, before that, it's PS1. And I raised a question and it's connected to Cynthia's concern about the lack of floor plan. Because as there is a school there and as there will be kids walking up that every single weekday, I have questions as to what the front of the store is going to look like. Many of those stores have they display candy. They can display candy out the window. They have the box in the window, and that's not something that we wish to see. So again, we're going to ask that you provide more information. We need information like this. If you would like us to make an honest vote, we would at minimum ask that you provide us with this information.
Yes, I mean,
Thank you.
we wasn't aware that we needed floor plan. That wasn't in the Christmas package. But because we're like, small family one store, that we didn't, spend like another $10,000, we get like, architect, all that stuff to all this pen out when all this is it's up in the air that we don't even know if we're gonna get like a committee.
So every community board, operate a little bit different when it comes to review. Right? So for us, Cynthia and I, and the committee have to review a lot of cannabis licenses in this area. So, this is a question that we asked, question we've been asking for, a lot of those applicants, right, apply this area. So again, because you don't know the neighborhood you don't live in, you never attended the community board meeting. I mean, I will advise you to go back to the videotape and look at some of the questions that we asked, right? Some of the applicants. You know that, we're not picking on you. Some of the questions that everyone has concern on, right? So just be prepared next time.
Right, also just want to point out, while it is within the fee, there are 3 churches down the block as well. 46th Street, at 4th Avenue, one between 4th and 5th, one actually on 4th Avenue. While it is within OCM guidelines, I just want to point that out as well, that they also have concerns as well as the school, while it is within OCM guidelines of their fee and their footage to the dispensary, it is something that we're concerned about because it is an avenue where people walk every single day.
And two doors down from you was an illegal dispensary that was shut down by the precinct. Boys, shut down by the precinct, being an illegal dispensary, having exactly what Sam referred to as to their signage, et cetera. You know that OCM has very strict like guidelines on their signage and everything else, but that's something you didn't even discuss. So to me, if you are going to invest in the community with a dispensary that is legal, which is needed, legal dispensaries are needed in the community because we'd rather have legal ones than illegal ones because at least they would be regulated to some extent. The fact of the matter is that the plan has to be robust enough for us so that we can understand what it is that you're planning to do with that. Talia?
Hey, thank you so much, coming and presenting your application. I understand you mentioned before that you're applying. I'm not sure if that's for building or business growth. I do know that a really good part of opening business is a business plan. So in your business plan, I still haven't heard you answer some critical questions about these goals, right? Opening this business in this location, you have family that lives a block away, that's not really a reason any business. So who, not wanting to spend more time. If you, who is your target population? Because that is probably the most important part of the business. Your target population, your marketing. You said you were, I think, because there's a lot of need. But I could have missed that because I, again, I don't think that's something to put in a business plan. So again, your market analysis, who are you marketing this product to? It's kind of become clear also that you didn't do a needs, right? Like,
Actually, we did. Because the, our target, because the store is such a small footprint, is because if you like cannabis, actually a lot of for deliveries are to, like people like older people, elderly, they actually use cannabis. And some of them, they don't feel comfortable going to buy it, and a lot of them, they just have it delivered. So that's why our store is very small, because we like have the focus on, doing deliveries. And also to answer Sam's question is like the sign, like the sign for the children, like OCM will not allow us to put up like signs like that, because we're very, we're very highly regulated. We won't be able to do any of those kind of signs.
so I think what would be helpful again is a breakdown, right? I like graph charts, I need to Cynthia, because just kind of putting out old people, right? Like what percentage of the neighborhood, what are the demographics, your price points, older folks with insurance. The data is already coming out that that's not how those products are purchased. So we need more of concrete numbers, not just kind of putting together pieces from what.
We're not doing anything like out of ordinary, different than all the other dispensaries that are out there.
And so, we're not saying that you are, right? But the point is we don't know what it is that you're doing. So you keep saying we're not doing something different else. So with all due respect, every single applicant that we have had before this community concrete plans to us, including security details, including business plans, including a needs analysis, including how they were going to do delivery. And if you're going to be, the bulk of you is going to be delivery, then you have a bus stop right in front of you where you're going to park your e-bikes, because as you heard, the two-wheel bikes have been a big issue in the community. So all those things are details that you have not provided to us. So like Jerry said earlier, we have heard Medicare, we have passed about 95% of them, I think, Joe, forward, because those folks came to us with very robust as to what it is they were going to do.
Because we don't know what you're going to do, you just keep saying, we're going to do what other dispensaries do. I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, I don't do what my next teacher does. I have my own flair and style. We follow the same regulations, but we all do different things. So yes, we're very much aware that OCM regulates and OCM has certain things that you're required to do. But I don't know what it is that you're doing because you just keep saying we're going to do what others do. And that is not an acceptable answer. Joe.
Okay, folks, so you're targeting West Virginia citizens? You would expect us to come out at 2 o'clock in the morning to go to your dispensary? Okay, all kidding aside. Lee, as a businesswoman, and I am assuming that you are a businesswoman, how can you, as a businesswoman, open a business that you know nothing about? And as you have said, you don't know you're going to hire. How are you going to hire if, in fact, you do not know the business? How are you going to interview these people? How are you going to ask them the intelligent questions pertaining to your business? I would like an answer to that.
I understand what you cover. I do not open the door.
Okay, I'll just, this is a new industry. Oh, okay.
Okay, I understand what your question. Yes, I do not open this business before. I only own few restaurants. I management. I have 15 to 20. I know how this happen. With people.
But you do not know this business. Should you not learn business before you put an application? Therefore, you would be able to supervise your supervisor as the business owner.
I mean, my mom has, we have a lot of restaurant experience. I mean, I mean, this is, like, the cannabis is brand new industry. I mean, we never owned a cannabis dispensary before, so like, I mean, there's, we can't say that we own and run a dispensary before, we never did, you know?
And that's understandable, but a lot of these things are just plain business plans, right? And especially the floor plan, you have to put in a floor plan to OCM as well. So we're not overreaching and asking you for anything. And at this point, I'm just going to make a motion as the chair that we defer your application and until you provide more information. We would love to invite you back when you have a more concrete plan. We'll give you next month to provide us a more concrete plan so that it does allow you to go and give us a presentation that we could actually have a conversation about. Because right now, it's very difficult for me to make a decision or ask my committee to make a decision when we don't have all the information that we require to make an informed decision. So I am making a motion to defer this applicant until we receive more information. Second, all in favor? Okay, thank you. We'll be inviting you back.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other items to discuss? Not, thank you very much, everyone. This meeting is adjourned. Have a great evening.